So on Saturday, a person on Kiwi Farms posted information of how they were able to get access to the bank records of Darksydephil, aka Philip Barnell. Through Phil's bank service and the auto dialer, they were able to get into the purchase history that Phil has with very minimal effort. Now, I'm not one that really likes to get into the moral grandiose grandstanding or anything like that, but I think it does bear some mention, specifically in this case, as a sort of warning to people who are interested in Phil and enjoy talking and discussing him. Guys, Phil is not worth going to federal prison over, you know? The United States government is known for a lot of things, but one of the things that they take extremely seriously is fraud and identity theft. So whatever you guys do, please, please, please do not break the law if you're doing something to gather information about Phil. Watch his streams, corroborate with already existing evidence, whatever. Please don't break the law to talk about Pig Roach. The other thing that I would say is that if you guys have a Bank of America account, like maybe consider changing it. The people who got access to Phil's financial records did so with things that were very publicly known on the internet. So just like don't bank with Bank of America. That's the only takeaway I could take from this. Now, in the sphere of discussing DSP, DSP's financials have been very, very prominent. DSP is sort of known as a person who will constantly remind the viewers that no one's really donated so far this stream, and constantly try to guilt trip and try to wring out as much money as he can from his very devoted but very small audience.
That's right, Major Right. Now is the time you would normally do a 100-bit cheer about Chef Boyardee, but you can't anymore. But you know what you can do? You could tip me $1. Yes, you can. There's no excuse why you should stop having crazy phobias about PayPal, and you could tip the $1 and make your joke about Chef Boyardee, and I'd still enjoy it. Yes.
Now, a common refrain for why Phil needs all this money is generally played in the sphere of, these are expenses that need to be paid. I'm a functioning adult, and I need to pay expenses, and I need to have my bills paid and all that sort of stuff.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money to pay my bills, the electric bill, the internet bill.
To maybe even bring up their personal financial situation in an attempt to maybe get a little bit more donations that time around or something, especially if money is tight. However, it sort of does matter, at least I think so, if a content creator is openly lying to his own audience in an attempt to try to get more money out of them. And that's really what one of the things the leaks have shed light on, is that Phil's expenses are not necessarily things that you would consider necessary or urgent bills. One clear example is, during one of his pre-roll streams, he said that his car was in the shop.
On top of all of that, while all this is going on and I'm doing these calculations, guess what, guys? My car is in the shop today. Yeah, my car is in the shop. And I don't know what the bill is going to be when the car gets out of the shop. So that's not good.
Now, generally, when a car is in a shop, it's a pretty big deal. They have to keep it overnight. They have to work on it throughout the day or something. They have to take a little time extraordinary for repairs. It's not like an oil change or something like that. However, Phil said this, and the day that he said this corroborates with something in the leaks of him paying for a $20 repair bill at Firestone, which doesn't really line up with my car is in the shop. Now, WWE Champions is a long-standing meme within the DSP sphere, largely due to the fact that Phil is an avid player of it, and I think that the leaks have definitively proven this. Now, WWE Champions is a popular meme within the DSP sphere because there's been long speculation that DSP is an avid player and pays a lot of money in microtransactions for this game. WWE Champions is a gacha-style mobile game. Gacha, or gachapon, is a sort of subgenre of video games derived from the Japanese gachapon vending machines. This subgenre generally has characters of varying rarities and various drop rates that you can roll on the gacha for real life currency, or a more slowly generating currency that you get from just playing the game. Gacha games in particular are known for having a lot of criticism just due to the fact that it's essentially straight up gambling, which it is. And most people who play these games generally never actually pay for a microtransaction, and the games are generally supported on whales, aka big fish that are the main bread and butter of the game and pay the most in terms of the overall player base. And in particular, the leaks have shown that over the course of several months, DSP has spent over $8,000 in microtransactions on this crappy little phone game. Now, Phil will avidly deny this and say that it is all the deranged lunatic ramblings of crazy conspiracy theorists.
This is what people are talking about because they're losers. They have no factual information to use anything, so they just make shit up constantly, and they try to use every little piece of tidbit of nonsense and spin it into a huge thing to prove a crazy conspiracy. It's nutty thinking. It's the same people who think that COVID is a fucking hoax. It's the same people who listened to Donald Trump and stormed the Capitol. It's the same kind of fucking people. There's no difference between them. They're all this fucking same. That's what I mean. Like, they're actually nuts. No normal people would ever entertain or believe that shit. That's incredibly nutty thinking, the way that they do this shit. Seriously.
Due to the fact that the account in question used to be called They Call Me DSP, it's pretty safe to assume that this is actually Phil. More concerning is the fact that Phil apparently even incurred overdraft fees when he was buying microtransactions in this game. Again, not to moralize or grandstand over this, but this is sort of indicative of a addictive behavior. Another concerning purchasing trend is the weekly visits to Total Wine & More. It seems as if Phil has a habit of spending upwards of $70 a week at a liquor store. There's been speculation that Phil drinks on stream and that what he's drinking in his water bottle isn't actually water, that it's gin, and that he may be using it to cope, which again would also be indicative of an addictive behavior. It seems as if the bankruptcy really didn't teach Phil anything, and that he might even have some compulsive habits that are causing him to spend way more outside of his means. Not to mention how badly this might actually speak for his mental state at the time. Many people were quick to comment on this on social media when this happened. You had Memology, who was just having an absolute field day over the news. Wings of Redemption, while condemning the means in which the information was obtained, was quick to point out that apparently Phil doesn't tip his DoorDash driver, although it's possible that maybe Phil knows that the company screws them and maybe he's paying them with a cash tip, but that's probably not likely. But at the end of the day, I don't really think this is going to change a whole lot for DSP. I don't think that the people who donate money to DSP are entirely surprised that Phil is extremely abysmal at managing money. And honestly, given the way that he treats a lot of his audience, I don't really think they'll even care that he's just straight up wasting their money on stupid mobile games and alcohol. I don't see that happening. I cannot see that a person who donates a large amount of money to DSP can't understand that that money is going into the shitter. I will, however, say, though, if you are a person who is donating to Phil and you're doing it as a means in which to support what he's doing in terms of maybe upgrading his setup so that he can play PC games.
I received another tip from the Leg Man, who tipped me $5, and he says, I'm a new viewer. I love your content. If you can put this maybe towards some PC upgrades, I want to see you play cool PC games. You can play Path of Exile. It's my favorite game. Thanks in advance. Appreciate the tip. Like I said, likely I will look to do something like that early next year. There's no way I want to do it during the busiest gaming season of the year. I mean, that would be pretty bad. Getting a whole new setup, not understanding how to work it, and basically having streams that are kind of hindered by, you know, what do they call it? Like when you have to adjust to a new change.
To just, you know, not waste your time. that money will not be going into enhancing the quality of the stream. It will go into feeding whatever Phil wants at the time. And Phil, the last thing that's really on his mind is improving as a content creator. But what do you guys think? I am doing more of these, I guess. I don't know. It seemed like it was fun to do, and it was. So I had a lot of fun doing this. Let me know what you guys think, and I don't know, like all that stuff. I can't do it. It's too shilly. All right, deuces. Mwah.